energize me when my batteries are low. You bring me comfort because you're there. You are my oxygen, my air. When I was lonely, I would pray for something else. They say you're normal, but you're nobody I know. You energize me when my batteries are low. You bring me comfort because you're there. You are my oxygen, my air. When I was lonely, I would pray for something else. When I am with you, I feel glad to be myself. You are the rainbow, I am the storm. When I am hollow, you are warm. You make me happy. 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 You make me happy.
Hello.
Hello and good morning. Welcome everybody to Predict the Week with Tor and Inbaal, launching right now.
Launching today. Today's the very first time we're doing this. We're very, very excited. This is one of the brand new UK-based shows for the Grizzly Outlaw Network. Isn't that right, Inbal?
Yes, and there will probably be lots in the future, but this will have always and forever be the first one. So for any US viewers, go to sleep. If you're watching from the US, it would be about 1 a.m. in California right now. It would be, I think, 5 a.m. in
I think 3 a.m. Yeah,
in
3?
New York.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
right.
4.
Yeah, four, because
Yeah, 4.
the clocks have gone back. And
Yeah.
here in the UK, it is 9 a.m. on a Monday, which is the perfect time for you to predict the week with us. So if you're joining us live, or if you're watching or listening anywhere later on, do get involved, do get in touch. We will be doing some live readings for people as you come in. If you're watching us on any channel or on any platform that's not the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube channel, you might not be able to send messages. So pop on Bigfoot Outlaw will link us into sending messages. And in the meantime, we have a very full show for you. What are we up to?
We do. We have a very full show. First of all, we're going to have a bit of a catch up, say hello to each other. If anybody's in the chat, you can join in and say hello too. We're going to have some general messages, collective messages, and predictions, kind of what's good to manifest for the week ahead. So Monday to Monday. And then we're going to look at a story from the news, but with a little bit of a, a spiritual psychic twist. And then after that, we're going to be taking your chat messages to give you some free mini readings here on the show. So let's get started. And Bao, how was your week? How was your last week been? How was it? What have you been up to?
The last weekend for me was very much sort of earmarked by the fireworks. We had fireworks for international viewers. It's the weekend that the UK gets its fireworks, and we were out. The weather has never been this mild for fireworks before. So instead of walking around in the mud and sinking and watching the fireworks. We were looking at a clear sky and the fireworks were on, and I actually broadcasted them on my Instagram because I think it's such a fun thing for people that can't leave the house or that are
Yeah.
working shifts to be involved. I remember when I lived in London on New Year's Eve, I wouldn't go into town after a few sort of jaunts into London town on New Year's Eve that went really badly. I decided I'm not going into town for New Year's Eve ever again. But I lived on Dulles Hill, which, as you can tell by its name, is a hill. So come midnight, I would get to the top of the hill, and then I could see quite a few firework displays all going on at the same time, and that was fabulous. But yeah, I love fireworks. I have my moon in Sagittarius, so adventurous fire shows are really, really exciting for me. So that was kind of the most exciting thing that I did this weekend. And I also caught up on a lot of sleep because I have four children, and they were all off school for a week. So I kept up all of my work. I was doing all of my readings. I was writing lots of articles, making lots of predictions, and also at the same time entertaining four children. So when the weekend came, I got through a lot of sleep. What were you up to?
I had a flurry of voice acting, which took up a
Oh,
huge chunk of the time sort of over the weekend and a little bit before. Both things that I can't talk about. There's always NDAs, unfortunately. And doing some, auditions, so fingers crossed. I also got a new kitten very, very recently, so he's been sort of still settling in and running around and exploring, and it's been really, really interesting and comforting to see him settle in and see him push his little boundaries and you know be very inquisitive. And there was a really, really sweet moment where I was sitting playing a video game, and he sort of had a look at me for a minute, and I could see him looking and thinking, what is this, what's going on? And within about 3-4 minutes after that, he'd figured out where to place himself so that he was part of the game playing experience, where he
oh,
had his little paws and he was touching the controller. Honestly, he's so clever. I don't think I've ever seen such a clever cat so young. um
yeah.
so yeah, that was pretty much my last few days voice acting, and the kitten.
How old was he when he came to you? What star sign is he?
He's just 6 months, so would that be May?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So he'd
Is that
be
Gemini off the top of my head? Gemini, roughly.
he'd potentially be a Taurus, depending obviously when in May. But both Taurus and Gemini are really clever in very different ways. Taurus is clever because they understand things on a real basic level. They understand where all the wheels and all the cogs work and how they can fit themselves in. And
Mhm.
Gemini have more an intuitive, like quick fire. This is what we do. So yeah, it'll be very exciting to find out where he is there on the. I'm sure you've got some paperwork that goes with his date of birth, so I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll ask. We do have the paperwork. I'm not going to ask for the paperwork. I'll ask somebody to dig it
Can I
out
please look through your papers?
and have a look. And yeah, it'll be interesting to do. Do you do a lot of pet astrology? Is that something that comes up for you?
Only in terms of compatibility. I mean, that was a stupid thing of me to say because obviously it's not the pet that books the reading, so it'll only ever be in terms of compatibility. But I think, especially for houses with lots of, which your household kind of is, especially for
Yeah.
houses with lots of, I think it makes a difference because, as you know, as a regular human, I grew up as the odd one out in my household.
Mhm.
And I feel like when you grow up as the odd one out, it gives you a
Yeah.
sense of as if you're not getting things right because it's not the same as everybody else. So I'm a Pisces, I'm a water sign. My dad's a Virgo earth sign, my brother's a Taurus earth sign, and my mum was an Aquarian air sign, but she was on the very, very cusp with Capricorn. So where they were all very, very earthy, very practical, very down to earth, I was dreamy and intuitive. And there's nothing wrong with being dreamy and intuitive, but especially in childhood, you grow up being so different to everybody around you. And that can be very disorienting. So in
It can feel a
terms of
little bit
compatibility,
isolating, can't it?
exactly. And different. And again, not that different is a wrong thing to be, but when you're a child and you take your cues from everybody around you and their cues are super compatible with your cues, then that can be sort of really bizarre. So in terms of compatibility, if you've got several humans and several animals and you want to see what fits with what and why one of, say one of the pets always favors somebody, I feel like there will be an astrological reason as kind of the first port of call, or
Yeah.
if it can be sort of two pets that just do not get on. Why is that? Where does that come from? I had two cats from the same litter, so they were, definitely not just the same star sign, the same entire chart, and they did not get on until they
That's
got much.
interesting.
Isn't it? Isn't it? But I think it's, it can be the same with people, because if you're a star sign, for example, say Leo, where you like to be in the lead and you like to be adored, then two Leos in the same household can be one too many. You could
Yeah.
say two too many, but let's go with one.
You read my mind.
I know. I always use the same jokes in all my readings. I always use the same jokes, and literally, like in my courses, I hand down my jokes because I think, well, they've always worked really well. So when I look at a relationship or at a household where it's like Leo, I always say the same thing. I always say Leo likes to be in the lead, and two leaders is at least one too many. That joke always kills. It always kills. And it kind of gives the message in what I think is a very unintrusive, sort of inoffensive way.
Yeah, I do too. And it's, it gives a bit of a giggle, and it's true. The best jokes are the true jokes.
Yeah, we wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. And it's, obviously we giggle about it, but when you give a reading, and you know that because you've been giving readings literally since you were a child, when you give a reading, the commitment is to make the client feel more in control over what's going on. I was going to say make the client feel better, but it doesn't. Like, facts don't always make you feel better. Most of the time, yes, but the goal is to kind of give a person the tools to make the decisions that will serve them, the best possible way.
I think facts eventually always make somebody feel better. It might not make them feel better in the moment in the reading. They might want to, slap you on the bottom for giving them the facts. But I think eventually, once they've realized, okay, that was what happened, it unfolded, that job, that person, that situation wasn't right for me, then they feel better. We might not hear that you feel better, but that's okay, so long as you eventually do, and so long as you've had the the information. And it really is all about providing information and guidance. Speaking of, we are going to do some general collective, cards, messages, what have you, for the week ahead. I've actually done an angel number first of all. Is it okay to do that first?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. In fact, let me put you full screen so that everyone can make their eye contact with you. Sorry, just so that I'm also at the same time producing this. And I don't know if it was really obvious that I that I bounced a little bit on the opening credits. That was definitely not intentional.
It
Very
was,
good.
but we got to listen to You Make Me Happy 1.5 times. So
Exactly. What's better than listening to it once? Twice, or a
nice.
split difference. So I'm popping you on full screen, and you share with our lovely audience what we've got in the week ahead.
Oh, that's you.
No, that's me.
I've had a lovely
See?
hair transformation in the past 3 seconds. There we go. So our angel number for the week ahead is 0330. 0330. And with angel numbers, this combination is really, really talking about love, peace, hope, and optimism. Love, peace, hope, and optimism. I mean, how amazing is that to, to start the week and take that through the week ahead. But when we look at this number a little bit deeper, it actually talks about being able to really go after your goals, to really, really gun for what you want. And it's not even a case of like manifesting it or, doing all the things that we would normally do to manifest. It really talks about, I want this to happen, so it's going to happen. It's a really, really good week for going after stuff in love, going after, like a job promotion. It also talks about having clearer communication, which will in turn help us bring those things forward. Clearer communication in relationships, clearer communication in the workplace, which is really, really good. So, yeah, that's our angel number for the week going forward. Would you like to do us a general card, Inbal?
Yeah, do you know, I've actually got the astrology for the week as well.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
I hold it up
That's a
in this way
surprise.
that says, I hold it up in this way that says, look, can't you see? But it's not. So, for anyone curious about astrology, when you read the stars, this is an ephemeris. An ephemeris is a date book that literally shows you this is a 1 year. You'll see a lot of kind of hardcore astrologers walk around with a big, thick book that is for like 50 years. That is unfortunately not me, although I do have the collection of many years of ephemeris, many years of doing horoscopes,
Wow.
and the publishers do them. I know, cute, right? The publishers do them in kind of
I love
ascending
that.
order so that you've got them in. But yeah, so this is Raphael's ephemeris, not endorsing. It's just sort of the most popular one. And we've got some interesting things coming up on this very interesting week. So, first of all, for the entire week, and it's the only week in November, and I think the only week this year, both Mercury, planet of communication, and Venus, planet of love, both are in Sagittarius. So what we've got is that Mercury, communication, had just gone into Sagittarius yesterday and is going to stay there until 2025. It'll also go retrograde in a bit, but we'll talk about that when we get there. And Venus had gone into Sagittarius last month, and it'll be leaving on the 11th. So we've got them kind of catching each other at the same time. Now, Sagittarius, I never even apologize about it. It's absolutely my favorite star sign because it is fun. It's full of laughter. It's chaotic. You never know what to expect. I personally love it. And the fact that we have both Mercury and Venus in Sagittarius, that means for Sagittarians, both love is coming up with Venus and contracts, offers, very interesting emails. So that's coming with Mercury. So that's what's coming for the Sagittarius that we saw there. But also, because Mercury is the ruler to two different star signs and Venus is the ruler to two different star signs, all of those star signs will have Sagittarian energy coming at them. So Mercury rules Did you see how my brain just switched off for a second? Rules Gemini and Virgos. So pay attention, Geminis and Virgos between right now and the 11th. Yeah. So for the whole week, you're going to have a lot of laughter, a lot of fun. For a Gemini, it's great because you love laughing and you love unexpected twists and turns. For Virgo, you don't love it so much, but you'll find a way to enjoy it. Virgos do love for things to be neat and tidy, but they also have an adaptability about them where they get used to new situations with no drama. That's the best thing about Virgos. No drama. No drama.
No drama.
Okay, this is what we're doing now. That, life has now turned into a roller coaster ride. Great. I'm going to strap right in and let's roller coaster. And Venus is the ruler to two very elegant signs because Venus is elegant. So Taurus and Libra will also be enjoying this Sagittarius vibe. For Taurus, you might be sort of very earthy and grounded, and Sagittarius is all over the place. But do you know what they have in common? Sagittarians love to consume things, sort of eat and listen and take everything in. And Taurus love the same kind of thing. Taurus are like, they're real foodies, they're musicians. So that's actually a real beautiful combination because Taurians will be able to lift themselves up and to acquire more of the colors of the rainbow in exactly the bits of life that make sense to them. And Libra, that are actually normally very gentle, very graceful, very elegant, Librans are going to be sort of thrown out of their comfort zone a little bit, but they're going to sort of keep their legs crossed and be really, really graceful about it. So this is, to me, the most interesting thing that we've got for this specific week, that sort of weird match that we've got for 5 entire signs of the zodiac. But yeah, we're going to do some cards as well. Have you got cards on you?
That was really, really wonderful. Thank you for that. But wasn't that also an interesting correlation with the angel number for the week too, with the love and the communication?
I was
the
really
going for your
thinking that.
goals?
Yeah, when you were talking about the angel number, I was really thinking how funny that it should fit so well with what is coming up, what is coming up in the stars anyway, because the stars are not random. They get to decide things, forever in advance. They're going on an orbit. Those things don't change. And so for an angel number that came to you at random, I'm doing air quotes, at random, that's really,
I'm sorry.
Acrimonious. Exactly. So yeah, I thought that was really incredible when you were talking about the angel number as well. Let's see if the cards carry on with the same trends.
Let's see. And I used to on the show that we both used to work on, was that Anne Scholes that used to say that going to a couple of different readers who work in completely different ways is really good because you're getting like different sides of like the fruit bowl, and it can all sort of come together to make sort of an amazing correlated message. So you're giving the grapes and I'm giving the apples, and it sort of come together very nicely in the fruit bowl.
That's really beautiful and is sort of really resonant to me at the moment because I've got a client I'm not going to give any details on except for to say that the marriage is struggling a lot. And her cards are super optimistic. And she sits with me on a video read and she's like, I don't know what to tell you, Inbaal. It's, I can't see any of it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'd love to sort of go along with what you're saying, but I can only go along with what I'm seeing. And then it just slipped out. And she's like, because I went to a medium and she said the exact same things you're saying. And I was like, oh, you know what? Now, it doesn't matter how much of an expert you are in all of your things. When you hear that somebody else in the same field had said the exact same thing, that is already reassuring. Because if I was going to get it all wrong, what are the odds that that medium she went to on the other side of the continent
Hmm.
would get things wrong in the exact same way? So I agree. I think it's really fabulous when people sort of check in with different ways of approaching the information, with different people that have like a different view of life. Because I know that my toxic trait is that I'm insanely optimistic, like really to a point where it could risk my life at times. I'm insanely optimistic. So maybe I'm not the right psychic for you. Maybe that kind of optimism is hard for you to digest. So you go to somebody else, you go to me, see how it cross references.
And I'm sort of, I wouldn't say that I'm not optimistic, but I'm very, very blunt. You know,
Yeah.
you just get the answer, you know, vroom.
Yeah. Very
And
grounded
so
in reality.
and without giving away any details of anybody, I know that we share or have shared a couple of clients over the years, and the feedback is that the combination is fantastic because they've got the bajoom blunt from me, and they've got the your grapes, and it works so well. So for the general angel cards for the week ahead, two came out. So we have Divine You. You think I'd
Ooh,
never
love
done
it.
this before. We have Divine You, and we have Mysteries. Is my finger in the way of the mysteries? There we
Now
go.
I can
We have
see it.
Mysteries. So these two together, I feel, are really, really powerful. And again, it sort of continues on from what we were already talking about from the angelic number and the astrology. There's a bit of a focus on self. There's a bit of a focus on connecting with spirituality. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more spiritual this week. Maybe you want to explore some, angelicness or some astrology. Maybe you're just feeling extra psychic. I think most people who would be tuning into this are probably intuitive in some way. Maybe you're just feeling that a little bit extra this week. So have a little think about that. And the mysteries are, it's nice things coming through that we weren't expecting. It's nice things coming through that we weren't expecting. I'm hearing the word offers. So again, like Inbal was saying before with the astrology, some people might be getting some fabulous offers this week that are completely unexpected. I'm actually seeing the email list. It could be some truths coming to light, but it feels like positive truths. Okay, it feels like somebody letting you know how they feel about you, like somebody asking you on a date or asking if you want to go clubbing at the weekend, nice things like that. It's very, very positive energy this week all round, I think. Don't you, Inbal?
It already is. It already is. And like I said, I'm insanely optimistic, but I get really excited on a Monday, on a first of the month, on a new moon, on a full moon, come to that, because it's a new beginning. So
Hmm.
what we've got today is a Monday, start of the week in, Christian normative societies. Um, we've got the start of the month because it's the first Monday of the month, but it's also the first month of the Celtic New Year. Sorry, the
Of
first
course,
Monday and the first month of the Celtic New Year. So
of
we've
course,
got this
yeah.
kind of compounded beginnings. We've actually got a couple of our regulars from America listening in. Listen to this. Kathy says, from New York, getting on the road to work for 1 hour. We'll be listening. Great show. Thank you,
Thank you so
Kathy.
much, Kathy.
Wait, this is nothing. Listen here. Roger Blair says, howdy and good morning. It's 4:30 p.m. here in Eastern Kentucky. Might mean AM. I'll be listening. I might fall back asleep. Oh,
Oh,
well, if you're going back to sleep, I think there's no better compliment than you going to sleep with our voices in your ear.
that's
And
absolutely lovely.
let's take one card. It's so exciting that you guys are listening and that you're watching. We're here for you. And if you want to send a quick message, with a question, with a reading request. We're going to be doing all of them in about 15 minutes. So even if you go back to sleep, you can listen to it later. I'm just going to flip a quick tarot card for everybody. For the week. Right, we've got a really good one. I want to
I know that smile.
you do. I want to type what it is so that it goes on the screen together. So we have got the star. The star is, yes, the star is one of the most optimistic, promising cards in the tarot. This happens to be the Thoth Tarot, also known as the Tot Tarot. However way you pronounce it is not going to be the exact same way that the ancient Egyptians pronounce it. So give yourself a break. Pronounce it the way that is comfortable for you. And this is a card of hopes and wishes coming true. I'm going to say it again. Hopes and wishes coming true. That's not a small thing. You have 78 cards in the tarot and only one means hopes and wishes coming true. So your prediction for the week is that you don't even have to take action in a really big way. You just need to wish it. You just need to hope. You just need to visualize it happening. And even so, don't even visualize like that, that powerfully. Visualize it in your own natural, gentle way, and it is happening. So we've got this insanely optimistic card to carry everybody into the week. And again, it just sort of fits so well. Right?
It's a beautiful cherry right on top of everything that we already went over, everything that we spoke about. That's what a wonderful, wonderful way to finish the collective messages section off. I'm a little bit overcome, actually. That was beautiful. I was expecting it, but
but you weren't expecting it to that degree. Yeah. Same.
Yeah, so beautiful.
So
okay,
Divine Goddess is here with us as well. Hi. We'll do your reading. I'm saving the reading requests on the side, and we'll do everybody's readings towards the end. But yeah, what have we got coming up in this segment, Tor?
We're going to have a little look at a story from the news, a celebrity story, and we're going to sort of look at it from a slightly psychic, spiritual perspective. So I'm just going to flash this up. So we have Victoria Beckham and shirtless husband David share similar taste in books as they read chilling thrillers by same author while soaking up the sun on their super yacht in Miami. And this is, of course, from the Daily Mail, just to give them the proper credits. So let's just admire David for a second. Have a sip of water.
Yeah. Actually, let me full screen you for that.
Yes. And really, the article is talking about how they are still compatible after 25 years of marriage. They've had several children, they're still compatible, they're still doing things that they enjoy, and they seem to be enjoying these activities together. So they're not necessarily reading the exact same books. They're reading books by the same authors, side by side, which I think is quite sweet, don't you, Inbaal?
No, it's really adorable. I think love in general has had a really tough kind of 20 years. And at the same time that we've kind of recreated humanity to say it's really fine to be alone, it's really fine to be single. I loved my single years. Just realized my husband's over there. I really loved my single years, and empowering each other and empowering empowering each other and empowering others to enjoy life without necessarily like a second half. It really sort of brings into one of my favorite creators, favorite albums. I'm a big fan of Alanis Morissette, and in one of the songs she says, "I don't want to be your other half. I believe that one and one make two." And while we were so focused on empowering single options, we might have forgot, couples to the side. We might have forgotten that marriage is also very valid. Relationships are also very valid. And what's adorable about David and Victoria Beckham is that they have been together, 25 years now, I want to say. I think it's about 25
married
years.
25, but I think together probably closer to 29, if memories serve me
Wow.
right. So I mean that's already like a whole lifetime,
It's a
to be
lifetime.
together
Exactly.
and to
And
still,
they've been
do
together.
these.
So they were together, or they got together during the time where being in a couple really was, the standard, the normal, the desirable outcome. But they also survived together, more or less, with the odd hitch. They also survived together while the whole world was stepping away from relationships and stepping more towards self-actualization. And what I loved seeing was Victoria stepping away from the pop star, becoming at first a kind of disrespected fashion designer, then transitioning that into a hugely important, respected, lauded fashion designer. So she actualized herself while still being in the relationship. David actualized himself while still being in the relationship. And what they showed is that it is entirely possible to live your own life and set your own goals and smash them while still including the heteronormative, standard, traditional family structure in it at the same time. And do you see the kind of spiritual link between the two of them, because their star signs are not the most compatible, and I kind of love that.
Aren't they? Well, the numerology is so.
Ooh.
Yeah, the numerology is. So Victoria is a 6, which is about nurturing and harmony, and also very, very creative. And we know that Victoria is very, very creative. She was one of the key writers in the Spice Girls, and obviously with her fashion line and her makeup line and everything that she does, there's always that lovely, elegant stamp of creativity. But David is an 11, which is
Wow.
associated with wisdom, intelligence, and intuition. Now, you wouldn't necessarily think of David Beckham and go, "Oh, he's really wise." But I feel like the intuition
Rude.
part, I feel like the I feel like the intuition part makes a lot of sense, because I think to be as good at football, soccer, as he is, and I think you would need some level of intuition. He was absolutely fantastic on the field. And together, a 6 and 11, they're not necessarily two sides of the same coin, but they are very, very compatible. They work very, very well in a marriage. You know, the knowledge that the 11 brings, and the wisdom, and the intuitiveness, the true intuitiveness, you'd think I'd be able to say that, works very, very well with the 6s, harmony and nurturing. And the 11, David in this case, would be able to guide the creative nature of the 6 very, very well. So I imagine that he's probably giving Victoria some little tips behind the scenes about her business ventures, about, what works with what to do, what not to do. And we know how supportive he has been of Victoria's fashion brand. Yeah, so numbers wise, they work, actually very, very well, in perfect harmony. So what's the displacement with the astrology then, Inbal?
Right. So what you're showing is actually very similar to what astrology is showing. So in numerology, what you're showing is that it's not necessarily that they're compatible, but they complete each other very well, that together they're greater than the sum of their parts. And astrology does support that. So Victoria is an Aries, and Aries is very sort of rah, rah, rah outside of the house, doing things their own way. Let's try first and, and see later if it works. Whereas David is a Taurus, and Taurus are very sort of deep thinkers. Again, you can laugh that he's got like the public persona of not a great thinker, but I think now that the man is 49 and we can look back at his body of work, has not the body of work of somebody who's not got his feet right on the ground.
His body of work.
Yeah. No. So the differences between the two of them could actually bring them together with, if he's scared to sort of take a step in his career because he's thought about it and it's just too risky, you would have Victoria as an Aries saying, let's just try it. Let's try it. Maybe, maybe it'll work out. And the opposite is also the case, that if Victoria might look at a project and it just looks like too big to bite on, then, they can say, we'll do it together. Now, one of the reasons that I like those two together so much is that their Chinese astrology is the same as me and my man's Chinese astrology, because we're the same ages. So Victoria is a tiger like me, and a tiger is very sort of no nonsense, let's just go for it, which works really well with her Aries Western sign, works maybe less very well with my Pisces Western sign. But her tiger and his, I want to say hair. Wait, am I getting this wrong? Let's see. What year? Chinese astrology. You see which one of us came very well prepared and which one of us didn't. So 1975. Yeah, hair. Yes. So as the hair, he's very gentle, very good at making sort of long-term connections with people, very good at sort of sniffing out opportunity. And that kind of combo, again, maybe not the same, but there is a compatibility in it. And that is kind of the same of what you were saying for the numerology, kind of the same for the Western astrology. So we've got two people that are quite different, but when they support each other, it creates a real balance.
Yeah, it does. It looks very balanced looking at the numerology side of it, and as you were explaining about the astrology, it confirmed the balance that I was, seeing and looking at, and it is very much like, yeah, they balance each other out very, very, very nicely. My brain's just decided to go completely blank. I do apologize. But yeah, so that was absolutely lovely, especially including some of that Chinese astrology in there as well. Is that something that people could come to you for, as Chinese astrology? Like, could I come and have like a
I
Chinese
think
astrology reading?
for me, Chinese astrology, I wouldn't say I'm like an expert on it. So it can be like an added flavor to the reading. I'm such a tarot person, and I'm such a kind of unforgiving tarot person. I think there's so much information in there, but I do get excited by all the things around it. So I like playing around with, well, more than playing around, but I like sort of getting stuck into astrology. I like sort of just observing the Chinese astrology, and then, you know, all the other things as well. So, you know, play around with palmistry a little bit if we're face to face. And it's not something that I could give like a full half hour on, but I could certainly sort of see what is going on with you, with your palmistry. Have you not looked into Chinese astrology? I'll bet you like it.
I've looked a little bit. It's not something that I have a lot of knowledge about. So I've looked here and there, and I know that there's a couple of other slightly different astrology. You know, what would the word be? Not schemes,
Methods?
astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah, methods. You know, from Asia, so I wasn't sure exactly which one I wanted to look more into yet, and but
Yeah.
I do find it fascinating. I love that it's based on animals and how, you know, it's like a whole year, and yeah, I do love it, but it's not something that I have a whole load of knowledge about yet.
Yeah. So Divine Goddess says she's a rooster. I said I'm a tiger. What is your Chinese?
I actually don't know. I don't know. I can't remember.
All right.
Uh,
Well, you'd have to reveal what year you were born, so don't feel, you know, don't feel obliged to do that. Keep the mystery alive. But But yeah, so we've got a rooster. If we've got anybody else that wants to tell us their Chinese astrology, because it goes by sign. So, you know, we don't get a lot of the Ayurvedic astrology over here. But whenever I do come across, and I think it's just, I know a lot with Western astrology, and I feel like if I were to learn Ayurvedic astrology, it would just confuse the matters for me. So I've never gone into learning it. But
mm,
it is so crazy accurate. When I've had people sort of do Ayurvedic astrology, for me, it was really extraordinary. And there's, I know people with Ayurvedic astrology credentials who predict like big global changes. And I find it
wow,
really mind blowing. Yeah. Yeah. Really mind blowing.
that's
So
amazing.
we've got one reading request. Shall we pull it up and do a side by side?
Yes. Yes, please. Let's do that.
Yeah. So we've got Divine Goddess saying, I'd love a general. Who do you want to start?
I think Inbaal should start this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Let's do it. So a general for Divine Goddess. Let's
Thank
look
you
for
for your
you.
reading request, Divine Goddess, and thank you for, you know, staying with us and watching and
And being present with
interacting.
us. Absolutely. Right. Right. So for Divine Goddess, you've got some fabulous cards coming up for your general. It shows that you are managing it. It's funny because it's really sort of the same topic that we were chatting about just before. And she says, I'm dating a goat Chinese zodiac guy. Wow, I once dated a goat. Man, they're intense. Right? But yeah, so Divine Goddess, what it shows here is that what it shows here is that you were really, really fine when you weren't dating anybody. You were juggling everything in life totally by yourself, not, you know, not needing anybody's support, not needing anybody's approval. And this card, the Magician, says that you've achieved a lot of the things that you have right now without any help. And then a spiritual message came for you and said, do you know, it would work really well in your favor if you did find love. And this is when things changed, when you knew that you don't need anything from anybody, but it would be really, really nice for you to just share all the beauty in the world with somebody. And what it shows here is that love has become a lot more central. This is the Two of Cups. It's the love card. And look how symmetrical it is, how equal it is from both ends. And so it says that love right now is central, and that's really, really cool. Love is central, right? So you're confirming, saying true, this guy is very supportive, and you are very supportive of him as well, is what I can see. That the two of you have this compatibility where each of you gives as much as is natural for you and then receives as much as is natural, and that equal nature that the relationship has is what moves you forward. Neither of you is asking the other one for very much. Each of you is happy to give without expecting anything in return. So Divine Goddess confirms, yes, I'm being very much supportive. He lost his father last month. That is really, really sad to hear. So let's see what Tor has for you. Hey, babe.
Hello. So the first thing that comes up for you here, Divine Goddess, is the Divine Messenger card. And I really feel like this is kind of, it's talking about you yourself. I know that you're very spiritual. I don't know if you're aware of just how much angelic energy is around you. There's lots and lots of different angels around you. And you would be very good, if you're not doing so already, at channeling angelic messages, and angelic guidance and angelic healing. They're saying, like, you actually doing angelic healing, some kind of angelic Reiki, something like that. So it's kind of really telling you that you are either already or going to be in the process of being a divine messenger. I mean, you have the perfect name here already, Divine Goddess. And then we have the alchemy card. So it's really a time in your life. It's a time in your life. It's particularly next year, they're saying, for you to actually make things happen, for you to take the ingredients, make things happen, and move things along in the way that you want them. And as Inbal beautifully pointed out, there is a lot of, I would say, relatively sudden love going in and around your life, in and around your energy. Is this a relatively new romantic journey in terms of, like, Mr. Goat? Would it be relatively new, like, say, within a year or so? Because it feels like it almost kind of knocked you off your feet. Again, I don't want to parrot and ball too much, but it feels like it almost knocked you off your feet. You were, you were very content, you were very happy. And it's almost like a completely new experience. And it feels a little bit like it was a new experience for Mr. Goat too. And it looks like, from what we get here, it looks as though it's going to be a long experience. And it looks as though you're going to have a lot of firsts together. Would I be speaking out of turn if I said that you would be very potentially moving in or buying somewhere completely new around this time next year? I don't know if that's something that you've thought about already, but it feels very much like that's one of the firsts, is the both of you kind of putting in the pot, so to speak, to sort of buy somewhere that's for you and Mr. Goat. And it would be around this time next year.
We've got, first of all, the confirmation with Divine Goddess saying, yes, I started dating him only recently, been a few weeks. Wow. And then she says, do you mean buying a house? So
Yes,
that was
yes.
what you meant.
Yeah, around this time next year, it's like you're both getting a house together.
That's amazing. And Divine Goddess says, I love you guys for these beautiful messages. Thank you so very much. God bless you
Love
both.
you too.
Thank you so much. Right. I don't think you're going to believe me if I tell you, but we're getting very close to the end of the show. I would say
Already?
our launch show was a lot of fun, right? Did you enjoy launching
What?
this?
I did. Did you?
I enjoyed it so much. What a way to start the week. If this is the first thing that we do every week, I think it sets us off to, a week of absolute joy. Divine Goddess says, thank you so much. I claim it. Wonderful. So,
Oh.
with all the sort of Sagittarius positivity, what have you got planned for the week that you're allowed to reveal?
What do I have planned for the week? That's a very good question. I've got an interview tomorrow on a different network,
Ooh, good luck.
which I'm excited and nervous about. And that's all that's actively planned at the moment. Of course, I'll be doing readings and things like that. What about you?
I've got, well, this was like my big plan. I'm also potentially launching Laura's show on this channel on
Oh.
Thursday. So Laura Daligan, who is a very gifted psychic, phenomenal artist as well, is going to
Hmm.
be starting a psychic brunch on a Thursday with me. No actual food was harmed in the planning of that show. And I also made a lot of notes yesterday because I want to put together a mini course for sigils. I just realized I'm holding it like this. This is the list, and this is my old friend's calendar that I just sort of use now as it's old. What year is that? 2021. That I use as scrap paper. So what are sigils, what uses there are for sigils, how to make bind runes, how to make reduction sigils from like letters, different alphabets, touch a little bit on grid sigils, like with the letters and
Ooh.
with the numbers. I use them a lot less. Do you think I should sort of make it bigger? Because I was going to do like a huge thing of bind runes and then just a little bit on the ones that I use less, but I also want it to be informative. So yeah, maybe I'll make that a little bit bigger. And how to combine sigils, because I will throw extra things in. So I'll do like a bind rune, but I might put your initial in it. If your initial is something like an A or an M or a T that fits well with the runes, I'll throw it in.
Yeah.
Or even your star sign. Have I got an example here? Yeah, I've got one client in the Middle East in a place that don't really deliver post from here. So I never sent her sigil, but she has a picture of it. But here it's got the Jupiter sign and a rune. So it's not exactly a bind rune, but it's a bind something, it's a bind in
It's
Baligil.
beautiful.
Thank you. So yes, I want to chat a little bit about combining them and about how I think when teaching magic and even when teaching psychic stuff, it's so important to kind of strike the balance between saying to people, you can do pretty much whatever you want. You can be creative, and also saying, if you do it this way, your results are going to be janky and it's not going to work. So yes, that's why I want to sort of get into it, because when you teach psychic stuff, the proof is really in the actual reading. You're getting things right, you're probably doing it right. You're getting things wrong, tweak. But with
Yeah.
magic, the stakes are high,
Yeah.
and you definitely don't want to do it in a way that will kind of harm your karma or anybody else. So yes, I'm hoping to film that course at some stage this week. And apart from that,
That's very
yeah,
exciting.
thank you. Apart from that, yes, I've got like press quotes to write and readings. I've got a few mini readings waiting for me right now. So I've got an exciting week ahead. And now with your predictions, I know that I'm going to ace it.
Of course you will. Of course you'll ace it. And it, you know, like we were saying with everything that was coming up, it's really that week to make things happen, get things done, and it's all going to happen in such an amazingly positive way. And as I always say, it's so good to be able to deliver good news as part of readings or, you know, general messages. It's so good to be able to say, this is positive, this is amazing, let's go for it.
Absolutely.
And don't you think as well, speaking about Victoria Beckham, don't you think a lot of that was kind of like the Spice Girls ethos of like, yeah, let's go, let's do it, we're gonna do it. So it kind of all tied in so nicely.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, really true. And that's something that sort of came through all the way from the 90s with the girl power, for better or for worse. You know, let's give it a bash, hope for the best, see what happens. Yeah, I love that. So where can people find you if they want a reading from you?
torjamesfaulkner.com, or you can find me on Instagram at torjamesfaulkner. Where can people find you?
Inbaal.com or on Instagram, Inbaal Psychic. Send me a DM, send me an email. I get back to you. You really sort of have to be so outrageous, so out of order for me to not get back to you. So go ahead. And then if you are outrageous and out of order, I'll probably block you so you'll know. But yeah, go right ahead. Don't be shy. So that's all we've got time for today. And we will very hopefully be back next week, 9 a.m. UK time, right here.
See you next Monday.
See ya.
They say you're normal, but you're nobody I know. You energize me when my